What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing the 2020 HSC Standard 2. I'm going to be going through it like all the other ones. Now this one was memorable because it was freaking hard and it was all over the media about how difficult they made it. Now hopefully they don't ever do something like this again, but you need to be prepared for some craziness every now and then. So with that said, let's do it. All right, question 1. Which of the following graphs could represent minus x squared plus 1? Well, that's obviously a parabola. Then there's only one parabola here, so that has to be C. Question 2. What is 0.002073 expressed in standard form with two significant figures? Now, it's going backwards, right? I mean, as in the decimal is less than 0, so it's got to be a negative indice. It's going back, looks like 3 jumps, so 1, 2, 3, because the first significant number is, the first number is not 0, so that's 2. So it's going to be 2.1 to the negative 3, so that's going to be D. The distance between Bricktown and Koala Creek is 75 kilometers. A person travels from Bricktown to Koala Creek at an average of 50 kilometers per hour. How long does it take the person to complete the journey? All right, so he's going from Bricktown to Koala Creek, and he's going at 75 kilometers per hour. That's 75 kilometers. A person travels from Bricktown to Koala Creek at an average speed of 50 kilometers per hour. So how long does it take? Speed equals distance over time, and we're looking for time, which is distance over speed. So that's 75 over 50. That's 1.5 hours. So that's going to be an hour and 30 minutes. 4, Joan invests $200. She earns interest at 3% compounded monthly. What is the future value? Well, that's straight up. Compound interest, 1 plus 0.03, compounded monthly, so over 12. 1.5 years times 12. So 1 plus 0.03 over 12 to the power of 1.5 times 12. So that looks like $209.19. What is the future value? Yes, so that's 4B. All right, question 5. A plant stem is measured to be 16.0 centimeters, correct in one decimal place. What is the percentage error? Okay, so what it's going up by is 0.1 because the next reading would be 16.1. So 0.1 is what it's going up by. And when you divide it by 2, that gives you your error. So 0.1 divided by 2 is 0.005. And to find the percentage error, you get that number divided by the measurement. So divided by 16.0. You times that by 100, and that's going to give you, times it by 100, that's going to give you a percentage error. So 3.125%. C. Question 6. Suppose that y is equal to minus 1 minus 2x. When the value of x increases by 5, the value of y decreases by. All right, so for these questions, it's just easier to test a number. So let's let x equal 1. And as the value of x increases by 5, so x equals 6. So what happens when both of these are our numbers? So you'll have y is equal to minus 1 minus 2 times 1. So I just want to pop in the calculator. I'm too lazy. So minus 1 minus 2 of 1. That's equal to negative 1. And when it's 6, so when it's 5 more, you're going to have minus 1 minus 2 times 6. So, oh damn, I missed a minus 1 here. So sorry, that should be minus 3. And what's this? So the next one will be minus 1 minus 2 of 6. So that's minus 13. So the difference between those two is 10. All right, question 7. Which histogram best represents a data set that is positively skewed? So positively skewed is when the tail goes to the positive end. So it really looks like that one there. That's not it. This is symmetrical and that's kind of uniform. So that's pretty easy. 7A. Question 8. John recently did a test each one of his 3 subjects. The class scores on each test were normally distributed. The table shows the subjects and John's scores as well as the mean and standard deviation of the class scores on each test. All right, so you've got these 3 subjects. His score, the mean, and the standard deviation. Relative to the rest of the class, which row of the table shows John's strongest and weakest subject? All right, so we're clearly looking for z-scores here. So remember, z-scores is his score minus the mean over the standard deviation. So we're going to quickly just find all these z-scores here. So his first one will be 82 minus 70 divided by 8. So that's 1.5. The next one will be 80 minus 65 over 5. That's 3, so he did super well in that one. And then the next one is 74 minus 50 over 12. So that's 2. Okay, so he did the worst in French and the best in commerce. Well, that works, so A. Question 9. Team A and Team B have entered a chess competition. Team A and Team B have 3 members each. Each team member of Team A must play each team member of Team B at least once. Which of the following network diagrams could represent the chess game to be played? All right, so they each have 3 people in their team and they all got to play each other once. So it can't be this one, right? Because it's got to have at least a degree 3. Could be this one, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like this one. This one, degree 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's playing 4 games. And this obviously it can't be that one. 9 big. Question 10. A plumber charges a call-out fee of $90 as well as $2 per minute while working. Suppose the plumber works T hours. Which equation expresses the amount the plumber charges as a function of time? Okay, so the thing that caught my eye was this $2 per minute. And this one says per hours. So you've got to be careful with that. Now, the call-out fee is $90 plus $2 per minute. So what's $2 per minute? As an hourly rate? Well, there are 60 minutes in an hour. And if it's $2 per minute, that's going to be $120 per hour. So 120 T. So that looks like D. An asset depreciated using declining balance method with a rate of depreciation of 8% per half year. The asset was bought for $10,000. All right, once again, there's a little bit of sneakiness there, 8% per half year. So it's not per annum. Asset was bought for $10,000. So what was the salvage value after 5 years? So declining balance is, remember, just like compound interest, but with a minus sign. So I'm doing 10,000, 1 minus 0.08 per half year. No conversion because I don't need to. And it's 5 times 2 because there's 10 half years in 5 years. So you put that in the calc. What do you get? You get 1 minus 0.08 to the power of 5 times 2. So the salvage value would be 4343.88. That's 11C. Question 12. For the set of bivariate data, Pearson's correlation coefficient is -1. Which graph could represent the bivariate data? Well, -1, first of all, negative is negative gradient. For what it's worth, it's just easier to remember that way. And -1, well, 1 is perfectly negative, so it has to be D. All right, when Jape stops drinking alcohol at 10:30 p.m., he has a BAC of this. The number of hours required for a person to reach BAC of 0 after they stop consuming alcohol is given by this formula. So the number of hours required to reach 0. At what time on the next day should Jake expect his BAC to be 0.05? All right. Well, this formula is to reach 0, right? Okay, so I've got to take that into account because I just want to know when his BAC will be 0.05. Okay, well, let's say, okay, so his BAC right now is that. So how long would it take for him to get to 0? So it would be 0.08375 over 0.015. So it would take 5 hours, 35 mins to get to 0 at his current point, but he only wants to get to 0.05. Okay, so how long would it take to get to 0.05? All right, so 0.05, 0.015. So this would take 3 hours. To get to 0.05, it could take 3 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, so what's the difference there? The difference there, right, it takes 5 hours, 35 minutes to get to 0, and it takes it takes 3 hours and 20 minutes to get to 0.05. So the difference in time is actually 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yeah, so that's the difference, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I obviously need to add that 2 hours and 15 minutes to 10:30. So 10 plus 2 hours is 12, and then plus 15 minutes is 12:45. Okay, so 8. Question 14. An annuity consists of 10 payments, each equal to $1,000. Each payment is made on the 30th of June each year from 2021 through to 2030. Compound interest rate is 5% per annum. The present value of annuity is calculated at 30th of June 2020. And the future value of the annuity is calculated at 30th of June 2030. Without performing any calculations, which of the following could be true? All right, so we got one of these ones where it's like process of elimination. So what's going on? He's putting $1,000 in each year from the 30th of June 2021 through to 2030, including 2030. The rate's 5%. I don't think that's really useful. The present value of the annuity is calculated at 30th of June 2020. So the present value is calculated June 2020, and the future value of the annuity is calculated at June 2030. Okay, well, he's putting $1,000 in each year for 10 years. So that's going to be $10,000. That's where they get the 10,000 from. Now, the future value of the annuity, well, the future value is what it's worth in the end. So presumably he's trying to put in $1,000 each year for 10 years to get more money at the end. So the future value is going to be more than 10 grand. The future value is going to be more than 10 grand. So it can't be this one and it can't be this one. So it's either A or B. Okay, well, what does it say here? The present value of the annuity is calculated 30th of June 2020. But money is not actually put in until 2021. So the present value of 2020 is 0 because there's no money in the actual fund yet. So it has to be A. Question 15. The top of a rectangular table is divided into 8 equal sections as shown. A standard die with faces 1 to 6 is rolled onto the table. The die is equally likely to land in any of the 8 sections of the table. If the die does not land entirely on one section of the table, it is rolled again. A score is calculated by multiplying the value on the top of the face of the die by the number in the section on the table where the die lands. What is the probability of getting a score of 6? It's a mouthful. All right, so you throw in the die lands on one of the numbers, and you just multiply the numbers on the die and what it lands on. I think for these ones, it's just easier to draw a table or a matrix looking thing. So this represents the die. This represents the table. Okay, now what is probability of scoring a 6? So I'm only looking for numbers that are going to give me 6. So 1 times 6, that'll be 6. What else do I have? No 5s, no 4s, no 3s. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 1 is 6. I think that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's 6 by 8, so 48 options. So 4 over 48. What's that? 1 in 12. 15b. All right, we've made it to section 2. All right, 16. Consider the triangle. Find the value of theta correct to the nearest degree. All right, well, this is all simple. Opposite adjacent. So tan theta is 8 on 10. So theta will be shift tan. 8 divided by 10. Oh. So that is 39 degrees to the nearest degree. Yeah, it looks right. Okay, so find the value of x. Well, that's just Pythag, isn't it? So 8 squared plus 10 squared. What's that? Square root of 8 plus 10 squared. That's 12.8. Done. All right, Isla wishes to estimate the number of trees on a square block of land by measuring 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters. She counts the number of trees on the 5 by 5 meter section of the block and finds there are 8 trees. Based on this number, estimate the number of trees in the entire block. All right, let's draw a diagram. So you got 1,000 by 1,000. And in this little block of 5 by 5, she finds there are 8 trees. So if there are 8 trees in 5 by 5, so 25, how many trees, so x, is there for 1,000 times 1,000? That's the maths we're doing. Okay, so let's cross multiply. So well, first of all, what's 1,000 times 1,000? I think that's 1,000,000. Yep. So 8 times 1,000,000 there, so that's 8 million, is equal to 25 times x, which is 25x. Divide both sides by 25. and you get 320,000 trees. All right, the diagram represents a network of weighted edges. Draw a minimum spanning tree for this network in the space below. Okay, so it's not telling us which algorithm to use, so we can just use any. So I'm going to start with the smallest edge and just choose the next smallest one that's already connected. So I've got 2 here, then 3. The next smallest one is 2. The next smallest one here is 2. The next smallest one is 2. The next smallest one is also 2 with no loops. Another 2. Actually, no, that won't be that 2, will it? Because it's going to be this 1. So that will be my network diagram there. No, just imagine I've drawn it there. Okay, so what is the length? So it's going to be 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. So what's that? 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14. Done. The network is revised by adding another vertex k. Edges AK and CK have a weight of 12 and 10 respectively. What is the length of the minimum spanning tree for the revised network? Okay, so they're adding 12 and 10. So does that make a difference? Let's go up here. Well, it looks like I'm just going to have to add on this extra 10, aren't I? Because that's the smallest value. So it's going to be 14 plus 10. That's 24. 19. A fence to be built around the outside of a rectangular paddock. The internal fence is also to be built. The side lengths of the paddock are X meters and Y meters. A total of 900 meters of fencing is to be used. Therefore, 3x plus 2y is equal to 900. All right. The area in square meters of the rectangular paddock is given by this. The graph of the equation is shown. Okay, so I know there's a lot, but don't freak out yet. It says, question A, if the area of the paddock is 30,000 square meters, what is the largest possible value of x? All right, so all that's happening is, right, they're fencing this paddock thing, and they've given you a formula for the perimeter, and they've also given you a formula for the area. Now they've sketched the area over one of the side lengths, so x meters. So if the area of the paddock is 30,000 square meters, what is the largest possible value of x? You literally go 30,000, come across, and you'll see that it hits 2, it hits at 100, and it hits at 200. What's the largest possible value? So obviously 200 is the bigger one. All right, question 19. Find the values of x and y so the area of the paddock is as large as possible. All right, so going back to the graph here, I want this paddock to be as large as possible. So I'm looking for the peak here, right? So when does it max out? Look, I'm guessing, well, actually I don't have to guess. Look, it starts at 0, goes to 300. So the middle has to be 150 for a parabola. So I know that the middle is going to be 150 here. That's going to give me the max area. Okay, so when x is equal to 150, that gives me the max area. Okay, so what is my area formula? So I go back up here. My area formula is on this. Actually, I don't need it. I'm trying to find y. So I use this perimeter formula. 3x plus 2y is equal to 900. So 3x plus 2y is equal to 900. X is 150. 3 times 150 is 450. Plus 2y is equal to 900. So 2y is equal to 900 minus 450. That's 450 divided by 2. So y is equal to 225. These are my two values. Question C, using the values of part B, find the largest possible area of the paddock. Okay, so they're my dimensions. My rectangle is just x by y, so it's just going to be multiplying those. So the area will be 150 times 225. 33750. Done. All right, question 20. The table shows the income tax rates from 19 to 20 financial year. For the 2019-2020 financial year, Wally had a taxable income of this, 122,680. During the year, he paid $3,000 per month, PAYG. Calculate Wally's tax refund ignoring the Medicare levy. All right, so here we go. How much tax does he owe? So tax payable. That means we got to go in the table. So his income represents this bracket here, which will be 20797 times. Now 37 cents per $1 is just 0.37 as a percent. And it's how many dollars over 90,000? So it's 122,680 minus 90,000. What's that? So 20797 times 0.37 137. 122680 minus 90,000. So that is, no, I've goofed something up here. What did I do? This should be plus 32888.60. Okay, so that's probably a good tip for your actual exam. If your number doesn't make common sense, you probably made a mistake, okay, because it said the tax owed was more than his actual income. So just be careful of that. Okay, so that's his tax payable. How much tax has he actually paid using PAYG? So he's paid $3,000 per month, obviously for 12 months. That's $36,000. So the difference must be this, 36,000 minus his payable, so minus 36,000. So he is owed $3,111.40. Question 21. The inflation rate over the year January 2019 to January 2020 was 2%. The cost of a school jumper in January 2020 was $122. Calculate the cost of the jumper in January 2019, assuming the only change in this due to inflation. Okay, so we're going from 2019 to 2020. And it's going up by 2% over those 2 years. So the future value is actually $122. And we're trying to look for the present value. I know it's a bit whack, but that's what's happening. And it's gone up by 0.02 over 1 year, I think. Yeah. So your present value must be 122 over 1 plus 0.02 to the power of 1. So the original cost was 119.61. All right, 22. NISA has a credit card which interest is 17% per annum compounded daily, charged on the amount owing. At the beginning of the month, NISA owns $500 on a credit card. She makes no other purchases on the credit card, but 15 days later, she repays $250. Assuming that interest is charged for 15 days, calculate the amount owing on the credit card immediately after the $250 payment is made. Okay, so 17% per annum compounded daily. At the beginning of the month, she owes $500 and she makes no other purchases. But 15 days later, she repays $250. So assuming interest is charged for the 15 days, we've got to find how much is owed after $250. Well, this one's pretty straightforward for a credit card question. So she's owing $500 and she's got 15 days of interest on that. So it's going to be 1 plus 0.17 over 365 to the power of 15 minus the 250. So you can just put that all in the calculator in one go. 0.17 over 365 to the power of 15 and then minus 250. So she's going to owe $253.50. All right, 23. So in a tropical drink, the ratio of pineapple juice to mango juice to orange juice is 15 to 9 to 4. How much orange juice is needed if the tropical drink is to contain 3 liters of pineapple juice? Okay, so what do we have? We've got pineapple, mango, and orange that make up 15, 9, and 4. So what's the total parts? I just like working that out at the start. So 15 plus, what is it? 15 plus 9 plus 4. That's 28 parts. Okay, so I need 3 liters of pineapple juice. So I need 3 liters of pineapple juice. So in other words, just trying to equate the ratios here. So 15 goes in a 3 by dividing by 5. So I'm just going to divide all these by 5 to get the ratio. So 9 divided by 5 is 1.8. And then 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. So this is in liters, liters, and liters. So orange juice is 0.8 liters or 800 mil. B, the internal dimensions of a drink container is in the shape of a rectangular prism as shown. To completely fill the container with tropical drink, how many liters of mango juice are required? All right, let's start with the volume because that's probably the most straightforward. How much actually fits in here? So you just multiply that. That's 2,800 centimeters cubed. Now remember, 1 centimeter cubed is 1 milliliter. So that's just a straight conversion. So the volume here is 28,000 milliliters. Okay, 28,000 milliliters. So that's going to be 28 liters that fill this volume. All right, so to completely fill the container with tropical juice, how many liters of mango juice are required? Well, mango is 9 out of 28 parts, as we found up here. So it's going to be 9 over 28 times 28 liters. Well, that's just 9 liters, isn't it? All right, done. All right, 24. There are 2 tanks on a property, tank A and tank B. Initially, tank A holds 1,000 liters of water and tank B is empty. Tank A begins to lose water at a constant rate of 20 liters per minute. The volume of water in tank A is modeled by this equation here, where V is the volume in liters and T is the time in minutes taken from when the tank begins to lose water. So on the grid, draw the graph of this model and label it tank A. Okay, so tank A is this, V is equal to 1,000 minus 20T. So that's telling me the y-intercept is 1,000, right? Now the gradient is minus 20. So for every 1 unit this way, it's going down 20. Now I could do that, but I'm just going to get another coordinate by testing one of these points. So let's say when T is equal to 10, what's V equal to? So it's 1,000 minus 20 times 10. So what's that? 1,000 minus 200, that's 800. So my next point here is just going to be 800. Bang. Done. So this is tank A. All right, tank B remains empty until T is equal to 15 when the water is added at a constant rate of 30 liters per minute. By drawing the line on the grid on the previous page or otherwise, find the value of T when the 2 tanks contain the same volume of water. Okay, so tank B remains empty until T is equal to 15. So it's starting here. I'll do a different color. So it's starting here. And it's at a constant rate of 30 liters per minute. Okay, so if it's starting here right at 15, how many liters will it be at in 20 minutes or in 5 minutes time? Well, it's 5 times 30. That's 150. So that should be 150 here. Now, just to be more precise, let's do what happens in 10 minutes. So it will be 30 times 10, so 300 obviously. Now I have my point for tank B. And what do I actually need to find? I need to find the value when T of the 2 tanks contain the same volume. So that's here. And it looks like that's going to be 29 minutes. So 29 minutes. All right, using the graph drawn or otherwise, find the value of T when the total volume of water in the 2 tanks is 1,000 liters. All right, so here we go. I need to find when these two all together make up 1,000. So it won't be here, right? Because that's 900 plus nothing. Okay, so what about here? 700 plus nothing, so no. Now these ones are both going, this one's going down too fast. So what's this point? This point is like 400 plus 400-ish. That's not going to be 1,000. I'm trying to look for the points which are like right on the corners. So what's this one? This one is like 720. That's 200, so 920. So it's close, but no cigar. What about that one there? That one looks like, what's that? 8, 20, 40, 60. That's 860. That's 100. So 960. No, that's not it. Okay, so I've looked for a while, and I'm guessing it's this one here. Oh, I'm guessing it's this one. It's this one here because it's like the closest one. Now, maybe I've drawn my lines a bit whack and it's come off a bit different on the iPad, and it'll be different in real life. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it should be there because that's close enough. That's 880, and then that's 100, so that's probably like the closest we're going to get right now. Yeah, weird that one. So that's 45 minutes. All right, question 25. A composite solid consists of a triangular prism which fits exactly on top of a cube. Find the surface area of the composite solid. All right, this one's a bit more straightforward. So let's start with a cube. So the cube has 6 sides, but one of the sides is getting sat on, so we can ignore that top one. So it's going to have 5 sides, and each face is 8 by 8. So that's 5 times 8 by 8. That's 320. Now the triangular prism, right? The triangular prism has a front and a back, which are the same. So front plus back. Now what's that? It's half base height. So half times 8 times... What's this height? That has to be 3. And I'm going to times it by 2 because it's front and back. And then I've got the 2 like roofs. So I've got... Let's call it the roof. So I've got 5 times 8. 5 times 8, and I've got 2 of them, so times 2. So I'm just adding this, this, and this, so pretty straightforward. All right, so maybe I'll sum these up first. So 0.5 times 8 times 3 times 2, 24. 5 times 8 is 40, 40 times 2 is 80. So what's this? 320 plus 80 is 400, plus 24, that's 424 centimeters squared. Question 26. The preparation of a meal requires the completion of all 10 activities A to J. The network diagram shows the activities and their completion time in minutes. What is the minimum time needed to prepare the meal? All right, so minimum time, we're going to have to do a forward and backward scan. So let me just whip up the boxes. All right, so that started at 0. So 0 going, let's go straight across here. So the biggest number going forward, for forward scan, that's going to be 8. The next one here has to be 20. You've got a clash here, so 20 plus 6 or 0 plus 14. It's obviously 26. Over here, that's going to be 26 plus 10, that's 36. Going down here, you've got 36 plus 8 or 20 plus 9, so that's 36 plus 8. What's that? 48? Nope, 44, I should say. And then the last one, you've got 44 plus 2 or 36 plus 7. So that's going to be 44 plus 2. That's 46. Okay, so the minimum completion time is 46 minutes. B, list the activities to make up a theoretical path. All right, so now we're going to go backwards. So going backwards to the top, let's go down first. So 46 minus 2 is 44. 44 minus 8 or 46 minus 7, so that's 36. 44 minus 8. Coming back here, you've got 36 minus 10, that's 26. Down here, okay, it's 26 minus 6 is 20. I think that's pretty obvious. So here's the critical path like this. So what's that? That is C, D, E, F, H, and I. C, complete the table below showing the earliest start time and flow time for activities A and G. Okay, what's the earliest start time for A? The earliest start time for A is 0. Okay, so 0. What's the flow time? So the flow time is the latest start time minus the early start time minus the activity. So 26 minus 0 is 26. Minus 14, that's 12. What's the early start time for G? So early start time for G is 20. What's the flow time? So it's 44 minus 20 minus 9. So that's 24 minus 9. That is 15. Question 27. The shaded region on the diagram represents a garden. The scale is 1 centimeter to 5 meters. Use 2 application of trapezoidal rules to calculate the proximate area of the garden. All right, so these squares are 1 centimeter and they represent 5 meters. So what's that? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So that's 25 meters. You can see here, this is where the trapezoid is going to be, right? So like this, that's 1, and then that's 2. So what's this? 5, 10, 15, 20. So you got 20 this way, 20 this way. What's the height here? Once again, that's 20, because it's 4, and then this is also 20. So this is area 1, that's area 2. area 1, so height on 2. So the height's going to be like the same unit across both trapeziums. So the height's 20 over 2, 25 plus 20, those parallel sides. And then the next one's going to be height over 2, A plus B. So 20 over 2, 20 plus 20. So I just got to add those up. So that's 10 times 25 plus 20. That's 450. And that's 10 times 40, so 400. So it'd be 850. All right, B, should the answer to part A be more than or equal? Should the answer to part A be more than, equal to, or less than the actual area of the garden? Referring to the diagram above, briefly explain your answer. Oh, well, clearly it's going to be overestimating, right? Because we're estimating that to be the trapezium, and once again, this to be the trapezium. So you can see our estimate's going to overestimate because it misses this bit. Let's just say overestimates area. So in other words, part A is greater than actual area. And that should be enough. Yeah. All right, question 28. Consider the following data set, 1, 5, 9, 10, 15. Suppose that a new value x is added to the data set giving the following. So x is bigger than 15, it looks like. Oh yeah, that's what it says. It is known that x is greater than 15. It is also known that the difference between the two means of the two data sets is equal to 10 times the difference between the medians of the two data sets. All right, so I don't know why they've been so wordy here. So it is known that the difference between the two means of the data set is equal to 10 times the difference between the medians. All right, so what's the median of the first one? The median is 9, and the median of the second one is 9.5. So no matter what x is going to be, that's going to be the median there. So I know that the difference between the mean of the two data sets is equal to 10 times the difference of the median. All right, so what's the mean of this one? Well, the mean is 1 plus 5 plus 9 plus 10 plus 15 divided by 5. So the mean of this one is 8. The mean of this one will be, what will it be? It will be 40, so we just add all those numbers up. 40 plus x over 6, that's the mean. And I know the difference between them is equal to 10 times the difference. Okay, so the difference between 40 plus x over 6, that the mean of the data set, the new one, minus the mean of the old one, which is 8, is equal to 10 times the difference between the medians, which is 9.5 minus 8. So now I have a equation. Let's clean up this bit. So 10 times 9.5 minus 8 is 15. So 15 on the right hand side. 40 plus x over 6 minus 8. Plus 8 to both sides. That's 23. We'll move the 6 to the other side by multiplying that. 23 times 6, that's 138. So 40 plus x equals 138. Minus 40 from both sides. Oh, I made a mistake. The median is not 8. The median is 9, okay? So this is the wrong number here. Let me just backtrack. So 10 times 0.5, that should be what it is. So that's 5. Now let me repeat. Let's hopefully get this. So that's 8 plus 5 is 13. Times both sides by 6. So 13 times 6 is 78. Minus 40. So x is equal to 38. Done. All right, we've reached booklet 2. So the tail end, here we go. 29. Yana owns a share portfolio. Details of her share portfolio at 30th of June 2020 are given in this table. Okay, so we've got number of shares, the dividend yield, and the market price. Yana receives a total dividend of this from her share portfolio. Excuse me. Calculate the number of shares Yana has in company XYZ on 30th of June. Okay, so she's getting a dividend of this much from both. So what's her dividend for ABC. So dividend for ABC will be 200 times however many shares each share is worth, so $5.50 times 6%. So that's 200 times 550 times 6%. So she'll get 66 bucks from ABC. That must mean XYZ has to have 149.52 minus $66 worth of shares. So that's $83.52 worth of shares. Okay, well now we'll just repeat the process. Let's call this X. So X shares times $6 times 0.04 is equal to $83.52. 6 times 0.04 is 0.24. Is equal to $83.52. So divide both sides by 0.24, 83.5. So it should be 348 shares. Question 30. The network diagram shows a series of water channels and ponds in the garden. The vertices A, B, C, D, E, and F represent 6 ponds. The edges represent the water channels which connect the ponds. The number on the edges indicate the maximum capacity of the channels. Determine the maximum flow. Okay, so for this one, I am going to opt for minimum cut and see what happens, as opposed to doing the other method. So what's this? That's 350, so no, because that's 350 here, 350. So I need something smaller. Could be this one. So what's that? That's going to be 50 plus 75 plus 100 plus 50. What happened? That's 275, right? Could work. Let's just make sure there's no other way. So what about this one? No, that's not going to be it. This one here. Okay, so what's this one here? That's 150. No, that won't be it because that's going through 1 through 5 and that's going through 50. No, that can't be it. That can't be it. Oh, maybe this can be it actually. So what's 50 plus 200? So 200 plus, we're not going to count that middle 50 because it's going backwards, plus 75 plus 50. That's 325. So also, no, I think it's going to be this one, 275. So let me draw that in. So yeah, 50 plus 75 plus 100 plus 50, 275. Okay, cut is added to the network as shown. Is this the minimum cut? Well, I think we just did that, right? 200 plus 50 plus 50 is 325. No, the cut is 325. Max flow is 275. Done. 31. Mr. Ali and Miss Brown and a group of students were camping at a site located at P. Mr. Ali walked with some of the students on a bearing of 35 degrees that way for 7 kilometers to location A, and Miss Brown and the rest of the students walked on a bearing of 100 degrees. Like that. For 9 kilometers. So show the angle APB is 65. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be 100 minus 35, right? So 100 minus 35 equals 65. That's 65 degrees here. Find the distance AB. So this looks like it's going to be your cosine rule, right? Because you've got 2 sides and an angle. So let's go. So x squared is equal to 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 cos 65. And whatever answer we get, we're going to square root that. 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 cos 65 equals x is equal to 8.7 kilometers. Okay, done. Question C, find the bearing of Miss Brown's group from Mr. Ali's group. Give your answer correct to the nearest degree. So find the bearing of Miss Brown's group from Mr. Ali's group. So the place after the word from is where you got to start. So in other words, we need to start here and we got to work out, okay, what's the bearing there? What's the bearing there? Well, what do I know? I know, let's replace this x with 8.7. I probably need to find this angle in here, I'm guessing. I probably need to find this angle in here. I know that that's 35. Yeah, so let's find that angle in here. So let's call that theta. And I'm going to be able to do the sine rule, right? Now that I have that. So theta over, sine theta over 9 is equal to sine 65 over 8.7. So sine theta will be 9 times sine 65 over 8.7. No. Sine 65 over 8.7. And I need to shift sign my answer. So theta is going to be 69 degrees 39 minutes. All right, so if that's theta, right? Theta's 69 degrees there. That's telling me this is 35, right? Because it's alternate angles. That's 35 here. Oh, maybe I'll draw it in. So this angle in here has to be minus 35. Calculator's bugging out. Let's see what happens. Too much maths. Okay, that's 34 degrees. 34, 38 minutes, 39 minutes. So therefore, if that angle is there, the whole bearing must be 180 minus that. So 180 minus answer. So your bearing has to be 145 degrees. 21 minutes. Nearest degree, 145 degrees. Done. Question 32. The diagram shows a regular decagon, so a 10-sided shape with all equal sides and all equal angles. Decagon has center at O. The perimeter of the shape is 80 centimeters. By considering the triangle OAB, calculate the area of the 10-sided shape. Okay, so the perimeter is 80 and it's 10-sided. That means that has to be 8, right? And what's the area of this triangle? Well, I know it's going to be, what's this angle in here? That has to be 360 divided by 10 is 36. So that's 36 degrees. And I want to know what the area is. So let me just redraw this triangle out here so you can see. So the base is 8 and this is 36. So if we split it in half, that's 18 and it's 4 this way. So what's the hypotenuse? Well, the hypotenuse will be sine 18 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So x is equal to 4 over sine 18. So x is equal to 12.94. Now, do I even need that? Yeah, well, sure, let's use that. So because I have a triangle here, this is 12.94, and this will also be 12.94. Area of a triangle is half AB sine C. So the area of one triangle will be half 12.94, 12.94 sine 36, because that's the whole angle. 12.94 times 12.94 times sine 36. Now that's one triangle, right? So it's 49.21. But I have 10 of them, don't I? I have 10 triangles, 10-sided shape. Times this by 10. So the total area will be 492.10 centimeters squared. Question 33. The graph shows the number of bacteria Y at n minutes, when initially n is equal to 0. The number of bacteria is 1,000. Find the number of bacteria at 40 minutes. Well, that's easy. 40 minutes here. 4,000. Okay, that's 3 marks right there. The number of bacteria can be modeled by the equation y is equal to a times b to the power of n, where a and b are constants. Use the guess and check method to find, to the decimal place, the upper and lower estimate for the values of b. Okay, well, this number here, A, is going to be your starting value, okay? It's the y-intercept. Because when n is equal to 0 here, anything to the power of 0 is 1. So this will be 1 times 1,000. So that's our start. And we want to know the upper and lower limits of B. Okay, so let's take this for example. At n is equal to 40, the number of bacteria is 4,000. So that's the number we're looking for. So y is equal to 1,000, and we're going to guess and check values of B. But we're basically looking for the number closest to 4,000 when n is equal to 40. So here we go. We want as close as to 4,000. Now I know that B has to be greater than 1 because it's growing. So think about compound interest, 1 plus the number. So we're going to start at 1.01. It's a power of 40. What does that give us? That's 1488. But we're looking for 4,000. So no, let's just keep going here. 2,000. No, it's getting closer. 3,000. Okay, so I'm guessing the next one's going to be it. So it's going to be it's going to be from 1.03 to 1.04, right? Because above gets me below 4,000, and 1.03 gets me below 4,000, 1.04 gets me above 4,000. So it's going to be somewhere in between. So that's your answer there. All right, question 34. So Tina inherits 60 grand and invested into an account earning 0.5% per month. Be careful of that. Each month immediately after interest has been paid, Tina withdraws $800. The amount in the account immediately after the nth withdrawal can be determined by this recurrence relation. Use the recurrence relation to find the amount of money in the account immediately after the third withdrawal. All right, so here we go. A1 will be the one before, so A0, 1.005 minus 800. Now A0 is the money initially, so that's going to be 60 grand. So what's that? So 60 grand, 60,000, 1.005 minus 800. So A1 is 59,500. Okay, now I repeat. So A2 will be the one previous. So A1, 1.005 minus 800. So that's 59,500, 1.005 minus 800. All right, so what's that? So answer 1.005 minus 800. 58997.50. Okay, so you're getting the gist now. Now we just repeat. So this will be A2 1.005 minus 800. And we know that A2 is 58997.5, which we just found. So answer 1.005 minus 800. So immediately after the third withdrawal, she should still have $58492.49. All right, 34. Calculate the amount of interest earned in the first 3 months. Okay, so let's think about this. Interest earned in the first 3 months. So how much has she withdrawn, right? In the first 3 months, she has withdrawn 800 per month. 800 times 3, so that's 2,400 that she's withdrawn. Now, she started with $60,000 and now she's left with $58,492. So, how much has she withdrawn? Okay, so let's figure that out. Sorry, not withdrawn. How much has the annuity gone down? So it's going to be 60,000. Let's call it difference. 60,000 minus 58492.49. No, sorry, good. I still got it there. So 60,000 minus answer. So it's gone down by this much. So $1,507.51. But she's withdrawn. She's been able to withdraw $2,400. Okay, so she's been able to withdraw this much. So like, what's the difference? It's going to be 2,400 minus answer. So the interest will be what she's withdrawn, or what she's been able to withdraw, minus the difference in the annuity now, which is 1507.51. So looks like it's $892.49. Yeah. So that's the interest, okay? All right, question 35. The intelligence quotient scores for adult in City A are normally distributed with a mean of 108 and a standard deviation of 10. City B has a mean of 112 and a standard deviation of 16. So Yin is an adult who lives in City A and has an IQ score of 128. What percentage of adults in this city have an IQ score higher than Yin's? Okay, so for these normal distribution ones, I just like to draw a quick diagram to give me a picture. So let's call this A. The mean is 108. And B, the mean is 112. And it's got a standard deviation of 10. So the next one up will be 118, 120, etc. 128. This one has a standard deviation of 16. So 128, what's that? 140 will be the next one. Now I could fill them all in, but let's see if we need to do that first. So Yin is an adult who lives in City A and has an IQ score of 128. What percentage of adults in this city have an IQ higher than Yin's? Okay, well, Yin is sitting here, which is 2 standard deviations above the mean. That means, okay, so remember, this is 34%, 13.5%, and this is 50% here. So in total, it'll be 1 minus, or let's just do it. So 50%, 0.5 plus 0.34 plus 0.135. 1 minus that answer. So in total, there will be 2.5% of people smarter than Yin. So 2.5%. B, there are 1 million adults living in City B. Calculate the number of adults in City B that would be expected to have an IQ score lower than Yin's. Have an IQ score lower than Yin's. Okay, so Yin is 1 to 8 here. This is City B. So if Yin is here, what percentage of people in City B are dumber than her? So this is 34%. This is 50%. So 84% of 1 million. So that's going to be 840,000. Simon is an adult who lives in City A, moves to City B. The z-score corresponding to his IQ in score in City A is the same as the z-score corresponding to his IQ score in City B. By first forming an equation, calculate Simon's IQ score. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, looks tough. So he lives in City A, he moves to City B. The z-score to his IQ score in City A is the same as the one in City B. So x minus x bar over standard deviation, let's call this City A, is equal to the same here in City B. So this is City B. Now let me just fill these numbers in and see what happens. So we don't know his score yet, but we know the mean and standard deviations of A and B. So the mean of City A is 108 and a standard deviation of 10. And for City B, it is a mean of 112 and a standard deviation of 16. So it looks like I am just solving these two simultaneous equations, okay, because their z-scores are the same, and that would show this. So I'm going to multiply diagonally to get rid of the fractions. So 16 outside of x minus 108 is equal to 10 outside of x minus 112. Expand that out. What's 16 times 108? 1728. 10x minus 1120. Bring the x's to the left-hand side. So 16 minus 10 is 6x. Bring the 1728 to the other side. So minus 1120 plus 1728 is 608. So divide that by 6, get x by itself. So 101.3 is his IQ score. All right, so the penultimate question, 36. A cricket is an insect. The male cricket produces a chirping sound. A scientist wants to explore the relationship between the temperature in degrees Celsius and the number of cricket chirps heard in a 15-second time interval. Once a day for 20 days, the scientist collects data. Based on 20 data points, the scientist provides information below. A box plot of temperature is shown. All right, so here you got the temp and a box plot. The mean temperature in the data set is 0.525 degrees Celsius below the median, okay? Seems important. A total of 684 chirps was counted when collecting 20 data points. The scientist fits a least square regression line using the data xy, where x is the temperature in degrees Celsius and y is the number of chirps heard in a 15-second time interval. The equation is given by this line, where b is the slope of the regression line. The least squares regression line passes through the point x bar, y bar, where x is the sample mean and the temperature data of the temperature data, and y bar is the sample mean of the chirp data. Calculate the number of chirps expected in a 15-second time interval when the temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. Give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. Yeah, that's brutal. I don't know why they do this to you guys. That's very, very slack. But if you're in the exam and you just don't know where to start, try and relate it to something that you remember from the topics. Now here, the main thing that's sticking out to me is the least squares regression line thing. So remember, in that exercise or in that topic, you're just substituting numbers in the formula to seeing what you get out as what it predicts. Okay, so what do I know here? It gives me some formula here, and it's telling me, right, that it passes through the point x bar, y bar. So at some point, I need to figure out, I think, what b is, because I want to substitute a number down here, 19 degrees Celsius, hopefully in that. So what do I know? Well, I know that the mean temperature is 0.525 below the median. Well, the median is 22, right? So the temperature x bar will be 22 minus 0.525. So that's 21.475. The total chirp 684 was counted and there's 20 data points. So that's y bar, right? Y represents the chirp data. 684 divided by 20. That's 34.2. All right, so let's put those in the formula to hopefully find out what b is. So y is 34.2. B, and then x bar is 21.475. Let's move the minus 10 blah 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 to the other side. So 34.2 plus 10.6063. That's 44.8063 is equal to b 21.475. Divide both sides by 21.475. So b is 2.0864. So therefore, what do we know? Y is equal to minus 10.6063 plus 2.0864x. Sheesh. That is your formula. Okay. So let's copy that. And we want to know when the degrees Celsius is 19 degrees. So you're going to pop the 19 in here. So what is minus 10 minus 10.6063 plus 2.0864 times 19. And you should get 29 nearest whole number, 29 chirps. All right, guys, this is it. Last question. So, Wilma deposited a lump sum in a new bank account which earns 2% per annum compound interest. Present value interest factors for an annuity of $1, blah, 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 for various interest rates and periods. It's given by this table here. Wilma was able to make the following withdrawals from this account. So, $1,000 at the end of each year for 20 years, starting 1 year after the account opened, and $3,000 each year for 10 years, starting 21 years after the account opened. Calculate the minimum lump sum Wilma must have deposited when she opened the new account. Okay, so what is happening here? She's put money into this fund for what looks like 30 years. Okay, looks like 30 years. And she's been able to withdraw $1,000 each year for 20 years and $3,000 each year for 10 years. That's where the 30 years comes from. Calculate the minimum lump sum Wilma must have deposited when she opened the new account. All right, let's break this down. Let's say there was no 10 years where she withdrew 3,000. Let's just start with this. So how much money would she have to put in if she wanted to take out $1,000 at the end of each year for 20 years? Well, let's call this A, let's call this B. So for A, right, $1,000 end of each year for 20 years at 2% compound interest. So 2% is here for 20 years. Okay, so that's going to be 1,000 times 16,351. So that's $16,351. That's how much money she would have had to put in if she wanted to take out $1,000 each year for 20 years. But she also wants to take out $3,000 each year for 10 years starting at the 21st year. So what do we need to consider? For B, we need to think about how much she would have had to put in at the start if she wanted to have $30,000 each year for 10 years, going from the 21st to the 30th year. So in this case, it's actually better just to imagine her taking $3,000 each year for 30 years, because this table, right? This table starts from 0 to however many years that you're looking for. So let's just imagine she's taking out $3,000 each year for 30 years. That would be 3,000 times 22.396. What's that? So that is 67,188. Okay, so that's for the first, that's for the 30 years. That's for the 30 years. So let's make this clear. That's for the 30 years. But she only takes that number out from year going 21 to 30. So what we need to do is we need to subtract away the $3,000 she would have put in from year 1 to the 21st year. So in other words, the first 20 years. So we need to actually minus this number from $3,000 for the first 20 years, which is 16.351. So 3,000 times 16.351. That's going to be 49053. Okay, 49053. So what's the difference here? So it's going to be 67188 minus answer. That's 18,000. So this is what I'm doing. I'm doing 67188 minus 49053. Now remember, let me just back up for a second. This is for imagining for 30 years straight, whereas this one is imagining for the first 20 years. Because remember, she's only taking the $3,000 out from the 21st till the 30th year, so in those 10 years. And that gives me this number here. That's the present value. Okay, so in order to do this situation A and B, I need to add A and B, which will be 16,351 plus 18,135. So the present value will be $34,486. Okay. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this provided some value for you and got you ready, or at least, feeling somewhat more insightful than before we started. Listen, this exam was brutal, like I said at the start. They did this in the year where, the world was melting down and there was COVID. So I know the exams are written well before that, but still it seemed like a kick in the guts, to be honest. But look, this is the level you can expect. So hopefully, I hope you don't get something that's as crazy as this for your standard exam. But listen, thank you for watching. If there's any mistakes, let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please share with your friends and give me a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your exam, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.